Hey guys, so it's been a little while since I've uploaded a video to my YouTube podcast, but I figured it's about time. And I've just been very busy with life and very focused on building various things, and I think it's about time to get back to the podcast. I'm just on the road right now. I'm driving down to Waterton Lakes National Park. I'm going on a quick camping trip, so I got a solid couple hours of driving ahead of me, so this kind of afforded me the time to make another video. So let's dive into it. So today I really want to delve into just this concept of living a proactive life versus living a reactive life. And there are a few other adjectives I could use, or nouns. So you have the entrepreneur mindset, which that's equivalent to proactive. And then you have the employee mindset, which would be more related to reactive. And there's so many kind of different pictures you can paint, but it's ultimately just the difference of living a life of responsibility versus just living a life of kind of just irresponsibility, just escaping consequences of your actions. And that's what I want to delve into today. So it's really interesting, because I really do believe that when you look at humanity as a whole, you can divide people into categories based on their mindset, based on where they're going in life, and at the same time, those mindsets can change. And that's a large part of the reason I'm making this video, is because I want to encourage people to live with a proactive mindset rather than reactive. So I would say across the board, you can really just categorize the way a lot of people live their lives in one of those categories, either proactive or reactive. And what I mean by proactive is you go into life really with a game plan. You really just have a mindset of, you have goals that you're working towards, and you just have this mindset of striving to do your best, striving to succeed. And you're very intentional about how you spend your time. You aren't just kind of going through life like a roller coaster, just looking for highs and avoiding the lows. Whereas the reactive mindset, it's just life kind of hits you. Life just happens and you just react. That's how all your decisions are dictated. People tell you things and you just react. And you aren't building anything. It's kind of a good contrast would be, I'm a general contractor, so this is a analogy that would make sense. That makes sense to me. But living a proactive life is like building a house, starting from the foundation, and living a reactive life is almost like renovating, in a sense. Not exactly though. It's you have an old dilapidated house, it's falling apart and water is leaking through the roof, and you're just scrambling around, losing your mind, just trying to stay on top of all these things, fixing things, because you weren't proactive. You didn't solve the problems early on, and now they're piling up. And unfortunately, from what I've observed, that's kind of the way the majority of people live their lives. And so that kind of paints the picture. Proactive is responsible, goal-orientated, focused, and reactive is just you're sitting on your lazy boy and life is just happening to you, and you don't have any contingency plans, you don't have any real goals. You are just kind of aimlessly floating through life, just trying to indulging yourself, and just really going down the road of instant gratification, as that's really what our society is that's the type of people our society is trying to mold. People who thrive on instant gratification, which is not a good thing. And some people might ask, how did we get to where we're at? Why do so many people live their lives in a reactive manner. And I think there are lots of factors involved, but I think when you look at the grand scheme of history, you will observe that traditionally, through history, people have had more of a proactive mindset. Why is that? Ultimately, it's because of necessity. Historically, people's primary focus wasn't entertainment. It wasn't going to the theater. It wasn't watching Netflix or eating out, getting fast food. It was their focus was survival. If you're in a battle, whether the battle is a battle of survival, a physical battle, whatever battle it is, you have no option but to be proactive. You have to be prepared. You have to be mentally and physically prepared. And that's the reality. The majority of human history has, out of necessity, driven people to that proactive mindset. And this mindset of this proactive mindset is really integral in so many things throughout history. Just the building of empires, the building of kingdoms, the building of cities, and just the structuring of society. It requires a great degree of intentionality, responsibility, and just being proactive. And unfortunately, the opposite of that, living a reactive lifestyle, is what crumbles society ultimately, I believe. And yeah, so through the course of history, most people have had more of a proactive mindset out of necessity. However, now so many people they're floating through life. They're just living for the weekend. They aren't building anything. And this is what I describe as a reactive mindset. So again, what brought us to that point? I really believe that what you believe, your mindset, what you value, will determine your actions. And the reality is that over the course of the past 250 years, our society has been indoctrinated with a mindset of meaninglessness. And what I mean by that is it really does come down to a lot of things. Ultimately it comes down to what has been taught in the school systems, just the lie of evolution. Because what this lie, this so-called theory, you can't even call it a theory because it is utterly scientifically bankrupt when you truly study it. Like, the concept that something can come from nothing is insanity, and it's in violation of the very laws of thermodynamics. This concept of evolution, the concept that all human life is the product of an accident, a cosmic accident which happened billions of years ago. So if the source of all life, the beginning of human history, was spawned by a mere accident, how can you expect people to live life with a sense of purpose when they were not created with purpose? If life is just the product of an accident, why not live for the weekend? Why not just float through life aimlessly? Because you're gonna die and that's it, right? And that's what this mindset has literally been indoctrinated into the minds of so many people. I say indoctrinated because a lot of people don't recognize this, but the school system itself, the public in the Western world, in North America, what we see in the public school system is essentially an indoctrination camp. And I know that might sound pretty extreme, but if you look at what started school systems, they determined, John Rockefeller and John Dewey and several others who structured our modern education system in North America, they wanted to create a nation of workers, not thinkers. And they found that they could kind of create this sort of factory worker mindset, because you have like your lunch bell, you have your recess bell, you have this very structured system. And I don't know, it's not hard to recognize that our public education system, it actually doesn't teach you how to think. It teaches you what to think. It gives the conclusions for you. Critical, analytical thinking is where you have some evidence or some factual evidence you're given, and then based upon that evidence you must come to logical conclusions. The public school system doesn't encourage that. It just gives you ideologies and indoctrination. I've been there. I know what it's like. I homeschooled most of my life and went to public school my final grade, and I saw that firsthand. But so 12 years is the amount of time it takes to thoroughly indoctrinate a person. That's why they're 12 grades in school. And so people are being indoctrinated with this mindset of meaninglessness. Life's an accident. And then there's so many compounding ideologies stratified upon this initial concept of evolution. You go into postmodernism, which basically contends that there's no absolute truth. It boils everything down to just relativity. Like, everything's relative. There are no absolutes. You can believe whatever you want to believe. Again, that creates meaninglessness. Like, there's no real value to what anyone says if nothing's true. To have real value, there has to be a final authority. There has to be a definitive authority to make a belief valuable. There has to be ultimate truth. So I really do believe that this mindset and paradigm of meaninglessness, rooted in evolution and the subsequent ideological structures of postmodernism and just the mindset all this stuff creates, that's what's gotten so many people into this reactive lifestyle, where they live life like there's no meaning, and they make ultimately what are irrational, irresponsible decisions, which bring people into just a slew of problems in life. And it just blows my mind. We see it all around us. But the amazing, awesome thing is, as human beings, we have a choice. We have a choice. How are we going to build our lives? Are we going to let ourselves be swayed by that indoctrination? Are we going to let ourselves be swayed by just the expectations of society? Or are you going to choose to chart your own course? Are you going to choose to be responsible, to take responsibility for your actions, to take ownership, to develop habits, to go against the flow? People will think you're weird, but who cares? Do what's right. Do what's right no matter what. And yeah, it's just intriguing looking at the way in which so many people live their lives. And I know I've been there as well. The last year of my life was a very difficult time. I kind of shared in some of the previous videos, but I was just derailed completely. I due to some decisions I made, I got booted out of engineering technology at SAIT, and then I got kicked out of the military too, and I was just left kind of wallowing, trying to figure out what to do. And I really did start living with that reactive mentality, and by the grace of God, He didn't leave me there. He brought me out of that real pit of despair. But I definitely understand. And in the short term, that reactive mentality, it is a lot more comfortable. It honestly is. And I understand the appeal. And you just see a lot of people who live this lifestyle, kind of the way things go is they just live their life following their emotions, being dictated by their emotions. And if you feel offended listening to this, you need to hear this, because truth offends, and truth will make you uncomfortable. If the only people you listen to are echo chambers for you, people who are reassuring you, oh yeah, you're doing well, you're fine, you don't need to make any changes, get out of that room right away. If you ever want to grow as a person, if you ever want to embrace responsibility, you'll have to get to a new room where people challenge you and push you to the next level. So yeah, you see it just all the time. You see people with this mentality where they go to school, they graduate, and then their parents or their family or whoever is like, oh yeah, you should go to college, you need to get a degree, you need to get a diploma, you need to make something of yourself. And rather than choosing an ownership mentality, they just listen to what everyone says. They go to school, they go into debt, and they just rack up that debt. And that's not a good way to start your life, in 40, 50, 60 grand worth of debt from all your student loans. And then typically, yeah, the next kind of step is often just jumping into a career path. And so often what you see is people trade their time for a job they don't even enjoy working. And why do they do that? To make money. And then if you ask people what matters to you in life, the majority of upstanding, decent people will tell you that relationships, family, country, and if you have a faith, your faith in God matters the most. And then I would ask people in that predicament, why are you trading all your time for money? And ultimately it's because you ended up going into debt and you have to pay it off, and you just become enslaved to the system. You don't find a way to break free from that system. And it is completely doable to break free from that system, whether it's entrepreneurship or just, there's so many different entrepreneurial pathways which can be taken. Oh, that looked like a ghost car up there. Anyways, I don't know what's happening. There's some sort of blockade on the road up ahead. I'm kind of curious. But anyways, yeah, to continue. So, yeah, people end up working a job they often hate, trading their time for money, which is not even a priority to them. They just do it out of necessity. And they spend the most valuable years of their life just trading their time, dragging their feet at some corporate job or whatever it is. And if you ask me, that's not a productive life. That's not a life full of meaning. And then so often what happens is, and this is good, like people, yeah, you get married, you settle down, you have a family, and I really do believe that's the best decision you can make, because God's designed us for that. That's a life full of meaning. But the way that's often approached is just this kind of, people throw around these slogans, these catchphrases like, oh, I fell in love. And what that really tells me is falling into something is that's like an accident. It's not really intentional. It's like, oh, it just happened, I couldn't help it. And then when that's the basis upon which you build your marriage and then subsequently your family, that's not a solid foundation. If the choice of who you marry is based purely on emotions, or even just shallow things like exclusively physical attraction, not real depth of character in your potential spouse, that's not a solid foundation whatsoever. And people who fall into love fall out of love just as easily. And that's something, I hate to say it, but you know, when it comes to jobs and careers, you can always change that. But God designed marriage to be for life. That's how He designed it. So that is one decision that that has to be approached with a proactive mindset. I'm not married, so I have I can only speak on this so far, but that this is the mindset I'm working on developing. Is just don't settle for second best. Take your time, build yourself. And this is kind of directed to guys who are in a similar phase as me. Just focus your mind on a goal, on a mission, and focus on growing yourself. Don't waste your time chasing girls. It's foolish and it's unproductive. And if you have that sort of mindset and mentality, you're not going to attract the right girl. So don't waste your time doing that. And don't fall prey to the the whole falling in love and then falling out of love. Marriage is a commitment. It's meant to be for life. And don't settle until you find someone that you know you can spend the rest of your life with, and they're on the same page as you and you have the same values. That's so essential. It just can't be underestimated. So yeah, that's that kind of goes over the reactive mindset, and you just doesn't get you very far. You retire and you kind of finish where you started. You finish with on seniors discounts. You started on student discounts, and you're not really free. You just lived a life enslaved, working some job, and to be fair, the joy can still be found in that, but I just think it's selling yourself short of what just a really valuable life lived proactively could afford you. You're selling yourself short of those results. And now to go to the flip side of the coin, how would a proactive life look? And the thing is, I can't pinpoint it. I can't be like a proactive person. This is exclusively the way they live. But I think I can go into the mindset, because there really is a common mindset. When you have goals and when you have purpose, there are so many different things you could build with your life. There's so many different purposes and causes you could pursue. But I really do believe the lowest common denominator in those who live a proactive lifestyle is a mindset of ownership and responsibility. And yeah, you just you go into life with that mindset. You, rather than just letting all your decisions be dictated by either your feelings or simply what other people tell you. And don't get me wrong, it is good to listen to advice, but I think so often people listen to advice from just not the best sources. Why would you listen to advice from people who have not accomplished what you want to accomplish, who just aren't going anywhere in life? Why would you listen to people like that? Do you want to accomplish the same results as they have accomplished? And yeah,